Brian, how would you define work-life balance in relation to the logistics industry?
It's not good.
It's a tough question.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I mean, I think some weeks are better than others, right? But I think with our industry, it never stops, right? It's 24/7, 365. There are always shipments moving across the road as well as across the globe. And I think that's, something that if people are interested in coming into the industry, that is an aspect of it you have to roll with the punches with.
So if you're listening or tuning in on YouTube, today we're going to discuss work-life balance in relation to the industry, but there's going to be a lot of value that comes with work-life balance in general. We'd love to give you some tools on how to improve your work-life balance, or at least give you more structure to your day-to-day to offset any stress or chaos that you're experiencing, specifically to careers, but also in your personal life. So Brian, I want to turn it back to you real quick. You have a lot going on. You're running a company, you have 4 kids, a wife that has an unbelievable career as well. How do you balance everything that you're dealing with, having such a full plate? How do you balance all that?
Yeah, it's hard. Number one, it's hard, right? There's never any perfect formula, and I think when you think you have it figured out, you don't, right? A sick kid pops up and something happens, and you have to reschedule a client call at 2 p.m., right? If that's ever happened to anybody. I think it's really hard. I think, the biggest thing for us and, in our industry, it's very fly by the seat of your pants. Stuff happens all the time. You have to be available. You have to be able to respond right away. And I think if you have those expectations going into it, I think it's a lot better off. I don't know if I can give you a clear-cut answer, but I think those are things that you try your hardest to be engaged and have that balance in your life.
Well, specific to logistics, and if you're not in the industry, you can still relate, but specific to logistics, you are a professional problem solver.
Sure.
You deal with issues every single day. Turnover is high for a reason.
Sure.
Is the opportunity there? Can you make a lot of money? Absolutely. But turnover, burnout, stress, it's all there. We've seen turnover with some companies above 100%.
Sure.
Where they're going backwards, and there's a reason for that. Is because they don't stress the importance of having a plan of attack, having a routine, how to manage your mental well-being to offset a lot of the stress and chaos that comes with the industry. But with that being said, this industry is not for everyone. You and I both know that. We've seen it time and time again where they love the opportunity, but they're not willing to sacrifice and put in the effort and the work that comes with being in this industry.
Yeah, I think the industry coarsens you up, right? I think it's kind of like a callus on your hands. It's something you get used to over time, and it is always evolving, and we try to do everything we can to take time off and, be out of the office. But, it's just kind of the nature of the beast with our industry. So when we talk about, work-life balance and logistics, have you heard anything, like what are some things that companies have been doing to try to help with that? Not necessarily our company, but just as an industry in general.
Yeah, I can share a little bit about what we do to place a bigger emphasis on that.
Sure.
But I know work from home policies, flexible PTO.
Yeah.
Hell, some companies offer unlimited PTO. If you're listening to this and you work at Veritas, it's not going to happen. So let's not bring it up again. But gym membership.
Sure.
There's a lot of incentives that companies offer to help offset that. In our industry, it never stops moving.
Right.
So you have to, unless you have a team that's helping manage your accounts,
right,
it's on you. I remember several holidays where I'm at my in-laws' house.
Yeah.
And I missed the entire dinner.
Sure.
Because I'm on the phone dealing with issues. But clients that you work with expect that.
Right.
That's why they pay you a premium.
Sure.
Being in a freight broker, being a partner of theirs, that's why they pay you, is to handle those types of issues.
Yeah.
So that they can enjoy dinner with their family.
Sure.
But that's part of it. My wife Carly, she's been here since day one in my previous role, but since I've been in the industry, and she's well aware of the issues and the the stress that comes with this industry. There's a lot of things that we do as a family and as a relationship to offset some of the stress that comes with that.
Sure.
For you, Brian, when we talk about marriage, Jess, she's been there too since day one. Since day one.
Yeah. I've known her for a while.
What types of sacrifices do you have to make, having a family, having a marriage, what type of sacrifices do you have to make?
Yeah, I mean, I tell you what, shout out to that girl because she's been with me through thick and thin, and it's one of those. I've known her for 16 years, which is crazy. Even back when I was, serving tables at Bonefish Grill, right in Missouri. Yeah, I mean, she's stuck by my side every step of the way. I feel like comes to work-life balance, she's always providing that a level head or understanding what that is, right? So, and don't get me wrong, like. There was a million night phone calls, right? 2 a.m. wake ups, 3 a.m. wake ups, and those are exhausting. But she is better than I can ever imagine, and she's awesome, and she's been extremely supportive, even with our business, right? So she allowed me to take the leap of faith, right, or allowed us to take the leap of faith and help us in this venture, right? So I think that's where it comes out as that level of support, that spouse that's there, through thick and thin. So, and I know that you have the same with Carly, and it's, I think we need to praise our wives more often, right? That needs to go on my power list every day. So, which it is most weeks, but
we refer to it as your home team. Who's closest to you? It's usually a spouse. It's usually your close network of family, your friends. But your home team, if this is a commitment that you're willing to make and you want to, pursue this career, you have to have a very tight-knit home team.
Yeah.
There are a lot of sacrifices that come with it, and having the early conversations with Carly when we were launching, we were doing it, we're in the middle of COVID, but we're going full throttle. She was always 100% on board.
Yeah.
Like no matter what.
Sure.
We have this rule. It's called the 100% rule. If I'm at 30% and just getting my teeth kicked in.
Yeah.
I know I'm going home to 3 kids and a wife.
Sure.
She's going to have to pick up 70% of my slack.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
We always want to give our kids 100%.
Hold on, you get your teeth kicked in this industry? What do you mean, man?
Every other day, I would say. Yeah.
No, come on, man.
But she's on board with that.
Yeah.
And she picks up my slack. And since we started, she's been picking up my slack.
That's great. Yeah.
On the home front, so I can focus on this.
I know.
And the goal is we'll make time for each other. But you got to carve out that time. And I think it boils down to, when we talk about work-life balance, it boils down to what do you want as an individual?
Sure.
Because that balance, there's never going to be balance. It's unrealistic. You're always going to have an imbalance in your life. If you want to bust your ass and your career is your number one priority, well, say goodbye to your social life.
Sure.
That's not balanced.
Yeah. I think that's any industry too, man. Like if
Correct.
that's real estate or banking or financial services or insurance, like if you want to go full throttle on career, there's got to be some sacrifice in there, right?
Yep. And at the end of the day, it's what it is. Like, what do you truly want out of life? And it can evolve as well. But what do you want? And for me, it's my marriage, my kids, this business, and my health.
Yeah.
Like, those are it for me. But that requires sacrifice. I sacrifice time with my kids, so that I can spend a lot more time with them down the road.
Sure.
But that's temporary sacrifice. Same thing with my wife. We carve out Friday nights where there's no phone.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about work. I'm gonna have a cocktail.
Yeah.
Usually we call it porcheritas. We sit on the front porch and make margaritas.
There you go.
But that's my time that we carve out.
Yeah.
And that's the balance that I need.
Yeah.
Again, it's temporary. It's not long term, but find that balance is so crucial, especially when it comes to significant others.
Yeah, and even with you mentioned it earlier, like this industry is tough, right? It takes a certain level of mental toughness. So like the work-life balance in logistics, is it possible? Yeah, it's possible, but it takes some intention, right? You have to be intentional about it. Anybody that wants a cush job where they're kicking their feet up and they can, work from 9 to 3, I'm sorry, man, this industry probably isn't the right one for you. Right? You probably need to choose something else or choose something different because, this, you said it earlier, but whoever solves the most problems wins, right? And so, and usually, hell, that's any industry, but the people that solve the most problems, they get paid the most, right? So, how do you set yourself up and how do you, get yourself into that position, especially in our industry, which I'm in love with. So.
I want to back up real quick, Brian. You mentioned being intentionality.
Sure.
For those who are listening or maybe you're watching and you're like, man, my life is just like it's falling apart.
Sure.
I have no balance. I don't want to do what I want to do. How can you be intentional each week or like what are you very disciplined with each week to give more balance in your life?
Yeah, if anybody's out there that is, struggling or having a hard time, like, please know we've been there before, right? we've been down to our last $70 in our bank account. I mean, don't mention the overdraft fees, when it goes in the negative, right? Tips to be intentional. I think it boils back to what is it that you want in, from a personal perspective, and career and family and faith or fitness, right? Like what do you actually want, right? I think you have to ask yourself that, like, okay, I want to lose 10 pounds. Okay, well, I know that I have to be intentional about not eating garbage and actually exercising where I sweat a little bit, and not do that one time a week, but do that 5 times a week. And I think it's, writing those things down or knowing what you want, right? I think people struggle with that. I think people struggle with, okay, what is it that I actually want from a career? Maybe you're 22 listening and maybe you don't know that answer yet. We try to help you think about that and think about what it is that you're looking for. Do fast forward, 12 months, 24 months, 36 months. What's that look like? What do I actually want, right? So, yeah, I think, a lot of people, unfortunately, don't think, and I hopefully our shows and our episodes on the podcast and YouTube can help them do that, right? Actually think about what you want.
Yeah, and the one thing I'll add to this is this quote. I don't know who said this, so if you know, go ahead and tag that person, but quotes, be wherever your feet are.
Sure.
The way I interpret that is, if I am working out, I'm working out.
Yeah.
I'm locked in, I'm working out. When I'm at work, I don't leave work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm eating lunch at my desk.
Mm-hmm.
I am working because I know I have 7, 8 hours, depending on kid drop off.
Yeah.
7 or 8 hours to be as productive and impactful as possible at work. When I am home, I'm home with my kids, present. My wife checks me a lot.
Sure.
So I'm doing my best to be present. But those are where my feet are, so those are where I'm going to be present.
Yeah.
If you're listening again, what do you want out of this? If you want balance and you love vacations, go take vacations. But your job is not going to line up with that. Your success is not going to line up with that. So I challenge you to be where your feet are.
Real quick, so I think be where your feet are. I know that there's a great follow for those out there. I know a great follow. Jesse Itzler is one of the best at talking about this topic, and he has a huge, I think he calls it like the big ass calendar or something like that, where you can map out your year. And I mean, hell, you're talking about intentional, right? Like that is super intentional, especially with, he has a thing that he calls like Kevin's rule or Keith's rule or something, where he has one time a month that he takes one child and they do something like go fishing or camping, or they go play football in the backyard, and it's like full-fledged, like they paint the stripes on the field and stuff. So like, I think that if you're interested or want to learn more about that, I think Jesse Itzler is a great follow.
Yeah, we'll drop some of these tools, work-life balance tools, stress relief tools, planning tools in the summary of this episode. Feel free to drop your tools, your own personal tools, your own personal routines in the comments, or shoot us a DM. We'd love to hear them.
On this episode today, we're going to talk about how to overcome adversity and face resiliency head on.